Alrighty, guys. Oh my goodness, man. First off, I'm gonna thank you guys for being so patient with me these past week, this whole month. I know we kind of had a little bit of off schedule this week, but my goodness, so blessed for you guys, and thank you guys for being so flexible as you are. But welcome back to our regular scheduled program. A little bit later. Than we usually do, starting at noon. But of course, no worries at all on that side. We're not worried about the time. But hopefully you guys had a great week. I'm sorry I missed you guys on Tuesday. Like, man, that was like the worst day that we've had in literally months. And of course, like, I just had some absolute just crazy work stuff on my plate and just completely just boggled. And, I sent out a Patreon email about the hard drive issues that we had. But, gravely apologize for that. And I hope, all the things we covered in prior weeks and, of course, the past couple months were very helpful and hope you guys deal with that. But I'm also very, very sorry for not being with you guys during that. That was eating me up really, really bad this week. So, really, guys, first off, welcome back to MTV today, guys. I'm your guys' host, Trent Manager. Welcome back, all my new patrons. We do have a couple. We got 2 over new the weekend, so really blessed to have you guys here. All my returning patrons who've been here for a while, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and really continuing to thrive and soak in this information. But you guys already know, man, one day you miss in this space and you just miss a whole 8 chapters of just everything. Like, this is going to be a little bit of a longer live stream. I'm going to do my best, of course, to cover, like we usually do, the most details that I find accurate for you guys' learning and education. And, of course, we're going to go through and pick point, things that I also find important that I think is important for you guys to know. But, man, just got all the housekeeping out of the way. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day and sticking with me today. But really going over real quick our agenda, what we're going to be covering today. We do have, we got such a good bit of news. Let's just I'm just gonna go through the tabs and we're gonna kind of cover small of them. So first, or me, not even first, this is one of them. We're gonna go over NYC's mayoral run. They're one of their mayors running for NYC is going, he quotes, center of Bitcoins. He's a very big Bitcoin advocate. My goodness, you can tell it's been a long week just by the way I'm talking. We got some more here. We're just going through our quick little housekeeping. We got Bitcoin Fund breaking through for the Middle East on the NASDAQ. We also have, BlockFi making some crazy appearances throughout the news headlines, offering some 8.6 APY, just like we talked about kind of in our later years or our earlier months. Also, we're going to go over our technical chart, kind of go through that before we get over. We got a video or two also today from our boys at Squawkbox, kind of just seeing, we love to see the opposing view side of, how other people, like to challenge our arguments. It broadens our arguments as well for us to kind of combat that. And we also got some other news articles that we're going to go over as well. So it's kind of not wasting more time, guys. We're going to hop in and we are going to get through it. So first off, we're kind of going to go in order. I may skip around, but you guys have been here quite a bit, so you guys kind of understand how the dealio goes. But first off, we're going to go into Ethereum starts testing for London upgrade. So you guys remember, past couple weeks that we've been talking about this, Ethereum is having a massive upgrade in terms of its network movement. This applies heavily to my work, so that is kind of why it's been kind of a crazy month this month. But really moving forward, we are now moving into EIP 1559. And for those who may not understand, this is a very important hard fork for the development of the Ethereum ecosystem. Helps us with scalability, overall just processing, block power, everything that's going to be needed for a better user interface, just pretty much moving on the platform, which is going to be phenomenal. Going to lower some of those gas fees and some of those just overall really making your experience enjoyable as a whole. Which is going to be great moving forward, as that was one of our big issues as we were continuing to move through the Ethereum ecosystem. So that's been uploaded on the Robson testnet. So Robson testnet is just the kind of stress test that we do, for our developer side and making sure that our protocols are working well and that if there are any issues, we can go back and make sure those changes are adjusted accordingly. And we are not having any issues when we start moving into main launch. So where I sit with this, of course, as a blockchain developer, very, very happy to see. They've had a lot of issues moving up in the past couple months. This stuff definitely is not easy, and I'm very, very proud of the Ethereum team for getting this out on time. And we're not out of hot water yet, but we, of course, there could still be issues and things that we need to adjust. But in terms of having it on day to day, just like they said it would be on the 24th, that is really, really great news to see as us moving forward for having that target date in August, for really having the full out roll up out and really integrated in our ecosystem. So wanted to cover that real quick. Very, very good news moving for Ethereum moving forward. Awesome. Quickly moving over also to our Bitcoin, gets closer to 18 million users. So we're going to go over some bullish bonuses and some more news as well. So we've seen adoption curve apply. with Bitcoin, and we haven't seen the price action reflected correctly how we thought we would, and we've got some other readings that are kind of going to back that up, and other things that we've talked about in the earlier weeks as well to help us continue to navigate this and kind of see where we are going to be sitting. But really moving forward, we've seen on the on-chain metrics. We're going to go over to Twitter here in a little bit also, kind of hop on Willy Woo's Twitter. You guys know how much I like doing crypto Twitter just because those guys really do drop some serious game in terms of information, on-scale metrics, and just overall chain analysis, which is really, really awesome. But we knew that we knew China's crackdown last week was actually a lot better for us than people anticipated. The news just doesn't like to give us the credit that it likes to. Negative news always does better than positive news, which is always crazy to me. And that's also going to really unplay as we keep moving out through these readings and articles. You guys are going to see we had some really, really awesome news. But realistically, we're still moving forward. Bitcoin users are still going up. Wallet addresses are still going up. We're going to see that on-chain data here in a little bit. We're seeing adoption still continue, even if the price action is not reflecting correctly of the news that we have. And that's also the common question I really get is just, we have all this news and we're still at these levels. Like how does that really make any sense? And it definitely comes in like a ripple effect wave in a way. We've seen sadly enough, how if we've seen Mr. Musk tweet or someone influential of power come out and say something negative, it can seem to really drop those numbers. But if we're going to be 100% honest, guys, where we were moving up to this stage and point, we've been in this downtrend for about 64 days now. Moving towards the downside, we have not set a high about 65 days, and that is a time that we've kind of shaken out a lot of those individual players who came in here for too much greed, were way over leveraged in smaller coin positions, and we talk about futures and derivatives. We've talked about people that leverage trade on 5, 10x, 15x, a ton, and that really does just drive a lot of the liquidations and a lot of the price action. So us being in this downtrend for so long that we have has definitely freed up some space for longer term individuals like myself, you guys. I consider you guys definitely, if you've been staying around here for the past couple months we've been doing this, we do this about 8 months, you can start considering yourself a pretty good hard holder, absolutely, and you guys are starting to see now, we're starting to really shake out those individuals who were way over leveraged, way too greedy, and didn't know exactly what they were doing. And it happens every cycle, guys. You're gonna have people who lose and you're gonna have people who win. So kind of just to cover that up, that's kind of just where I feel the price action is kind of reflecting the most in terms of that. And going into this Reddit post real quick, this is actually probably the most important reading that we are going to cover out of this entire live stream. So I actually read this on Reddit, and this guy did a phenomenal job. So big thumbs up to N Fenchman, Diamond Hands, for his for his post here. So why NSCC002 is so important, and we're going to cover this. So I'm going to break it down just kind of by paragraph, and I kind of highlighted the important paragraphs as to why this is important. So the biggest news to come, endgame catalyst. Based with no objections in May for the rule to enter, it is the biggest piggyback on NSC002, which is no obligations are made again, will pass by June 21st. Let me remind you how powerful 801 is. Once 801 enters effect, all hedge funds positions, short positions, will be monitored every single minute. They will have report every single minute their value in short positions versus their actual money in hand. If they fail to report on their short positions, value crosses the threshold where it is higher than their money on hand. It's immediate warning to deposit funds needed to cover 1 hour of 1 hour. Failure to do so leads the NSCC immediately overriding operations and liquidating the hedge funds entirely, one after another, until that left is trillions of dollars of insurance. So let me break that down in that paragraph real quick. So we knew the AMC issues. We knew all the GameStop, all of that meme type stock hype. And really to give, I know that was a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, but just to reiterate how important this was for us as little guys to those guys. So when you take a short position, and that's what a lot of these guys do here, and we've kind of talked about this too, this isn't like tinfoil conspiracy or anything, guys. Like, it is realistically proven, not only just in the stock market, but mainly the stock market, that people will short, or hedge funds and institutions will short companies and other assets, in their collective field excuse me, in terms of overflipping their competition. So it is not uncommon that you will have big institutions screw other institutions and other people like you and I to make sure that they either get their foot in the door for a buying opportunity or buying out that company, or just simply trying to make more money. So the reason this is such a big deal ultimately is that now, if we're going to be real, the little guys have won. They have now implemented this system on top of their rule of already 801 to say, hey guys, you guys screwed up bad. You guys screwed up really bad, and you cannot have this happen again. So now we are seeing crackdowns on institutions of how they are doing their short and leverage and options positions. So now it is now becoming so much more transparent. Not how it was before, where people were digging around and crunching numbers. I'll have to go back and find the Reddit post for you guys when this really did start out, when the original post of how this started, that someone hopped on here and in detail explained how, off the numbers and on the chain data, on-chain metrics, they explain how these hedge funds and these institutions are getting their expiration dates for their options and how much they have, and just doing math saying, hey, if we drive the price up of this stock to a certain percentage or a certain price target, these guys will get liquidated. And that means that when you fall out of your position so hard, you have no choice but to liquidate your position and lose it all. That's what a lot of these hedge funds did, because they were shorting GameStop, AMC, Hertz, all these down to certain points. And what we did, we said, oh, screw you guys, and we shot that up the complete opposite. So imagine you're betting we go to $5, but we go up to 300, and you got a multi-million-dollar position. You are getting absolutely trash out of your position. And that is really NCCC 002 passing this law here, or kind of for the hedge funds. It goes a lot deeper here, kind of just more in the numbers, but ultimately where we're sitting at for this is very, very, very crazy. I think this was absolutely unreal. This was about 3 days ago. So, of course, we're a little bit late just because we didn't have this on Tuesday. We would have covered this on Tuesday, but I just got the real details of it, and actually understood it today. This is huge. So everyone who was holding AMC, doing what you needed to do, pushing that, there was a reason for that. These hedge funds some of these guys are still in positions that they can't get out of because it's still, so out of their price action. But absolutely, that is, realistically, that is truly unreal. This is the first time we're really seeing the big dogs crack down on other big dogs, saying, hey, like, you guys messed up, and we can't have this happen again. So we now have to imply regulations for you guys as well, therefore making this harder for you guys to do stuff like this. And me personally, I think it's quite ridiculous that hedge funds and institutions are able to manipulate that hard, and I don't get why hedge funds and institutions are even playing with options to begin with, as billions and billions of dollars as they have. I guess 2 billion isn't enough for some people. So amazing news moving forward. I really cannot believe what I was reading the first time I read that over. And also moving over to our SEC delays our Bitcoin ETF. Kind of how this impacts the way we are going to be moving forward, and it really doesn't in a way either. We got a video on that we're going to watch here in just a second. But realistically, we know we have Gary Gensler. We have our congressman. He taught at MIT, did a couple lectures. I actually watched a couple of his lectures from MIT not too long ago. He had a great series, and for those who want to watch it, I can link that in the Patreon for you guys easily. Super great. He goes over blockchain teaching, kind of just overall just how, not only just blockchain technology is a whole, but really going over a lot of details and economics and traditional finance and so on. Pretty much everything that we cover on this channel, just more on an in-depth scale. But the SEC delaying this is nothing new, and this is actually pretty good for us because now we're putting more of the crackdown on them. So the SEC only has a certain amount of time that they can keep offsetting ETFs. So, as we know for Canada, we know for other countries such as Brazil and Panama and all those down there, there are only a certain amount of times here that these guys can keep pushing this off. So now with this third push that they pushed off for more time for regulation and paperwork, this now is going to lead to a 60 to 90 day time frame. So now they have to make a decision here. After this, let's see when this was posted. This was posted June 22nd now. So they got about 86 days before they got to have another answer. And there's only so much time they can keep pushing this off before, an ETF is made. So, time is on our side ultimately. But, these guys got a lot more pressure, I guess, to really act up and figure out their deal for how we're going to be moving forward. We know the U.S. has been really dilly-dallying and a lot of stuff, and they're not really moving urgently to something like this, which I think is a little weird, but, not the worst thing in the world, I guess I could imagine. So, also here, let's actually cover this video quickly before we move on just slightly. We're going to go over to Twitter after this video. Let's make sure we got our desktop audio on. Perfect. Alrighty, about a 3 short minute video. watch if Gary Gensler comes in this one.
The ETF Edge, your go-to place for everything exchange-traded funds. I'm your host, Bob Pisani. Two experts in crypto assets today, but a lot more than that. These guys know a lot about a lot of different subjects. We're going to pick their brains here. Rick Edelman is the founder of Edelman Financial Engines, the #1 RIA, that's a registered investment advisor in the U.S. He founded the RIA Digital Assets Council 3 years ago. He's with us along with Jan Van Eck, my old friend Jan Van Eck from Van Eck, an authority on commodities. And the
I like Van Eck. He's a good guy. I like him. He's a very smart dude.
We got to start with this again. The SEC again delayed that Bitcoin ETF. They now have a thumbs up or down date. August 3rd,
Yep.
I think, is the
there you go.
next one.
August
Gary
3rd.
Gensler, the head of the CEO, has already expressed concerns about fraud and manipulation, even though he taught cryptocurrencies at MIT.
Yep. Just like we talked about.
For us, what's going on here? Are we going to see a Bitcoin ETF this year?
Well, it doesn't sound like the chairman is putting it high on his agenda, so...
As he should. He should be putting it high on his agenda.
I don't have any inside information on this, but, we've been through this application cycle, so they don't need to really make a decision in August. It's sort of an artificial deadline, as was the one last week, so...
This is not current price action, by the way, guys. This is from yesterday, so this is...
Internationally, the OCC, a lot of other regulators are looking at how banks can get involved. I would say that's interesting news. State Street has announced they've created a new division for digital assets, but the SEC is just not moving fast on this.
Rick, maybe you can weigh in on this. Number one, on Bitcoin ETF, but more importantly, you're going to be leaving your post as head of Edelman Financial Engines. Big news last week. I want to talk to you about that a little bit more, but you're going to be expanding the work in cryptocurrencies with the Digital Assets Council. You founded that 3 years ago. But tell me about blockchain and digital assets. What are you telling financial professionals about where that fits in with their portfolio?
Well, it's the future. This is the first new asset class in 150 years, and it's not going away. And I think over the next couple of years, it'll be a routine part of any diversified portfolio. But you can't do that until you understand what it is and how it works and how you fit it into an asset allocation strategy. What are the investment opportunities, et cetera? As Jan points out, it would be so much easier and simpler if there was a Bitcoin ETF. That's not here, and it's not going to be in the foreseeable near future. So you can't continue to sit on the sidelines waiting for it, because by the time the SEC says yes to it, Bitcoin might be 100,000. You're going to miss out, so you've got to move on with the investment opportunities that do exist.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... It's amazing the crypto community, they sort of levitated themselves into believing somehow that because Gary Gensler taught cryptocurrency at MIT, therefore he gets it, therefore he's going to approve of it, but that logic is specious.
Just because you teach about World War II doesn't mean you liked Hitler. I'm not suggesting the SEC hates Bitcoin or that Gensler does, but the point is his knowledge of it is perhaps not necessarily equal to immediate approval of it. And as Jan points out, the SEC has more important, urgent things to deal with. It's just not necessarily number one on their to-do list.
No, I like that. I think that was really perfect the way the way those guys broke that down. I mean, those are these are guys, Galaxy Digital. These are very top tier institutional crypto investors, and they understand it. They know it's here, and everything that we cover here is we piggyback off them, but there's some things that we say that that they already knew and that we continue to think. So it's great. I mean, we got a thumbs up or thumbs down date. We know for a fact that these guys cannot delay this too much longer. We also got a lot of ETF news around the world covering in Brazil and also in Dubai. So we're going to get to those readings actually just here after our initial Twitter post. So also, for all those who may not be on Twitter too well, I really highly recommend, if you're on Twitter a ton, follow Willy Woo. There's some other crypto advocates and other individuals who have been here quite a while and been very, very successful time and time again with their companies. Willy Woo is one of them, who do give some very good crypto Twitter on-chain metrics and so on in post. I highly recommend. Twitter is a great tool for utilizing that education. So starting at where I think I wanted to start, let's start at our user growth here. This is from the 20th, so this was kind of still somewhat fresh, a little bit old, but still this week. This is user growth in the network. On-chain metrics, we've seen this. This is live on-chain metrics. Willy Woo put these out on the 20th. We're also seeing Bitcoin supply held entities from holding 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin absolutely just skyrocket as well. Seeing that, and also I'm going to see if he talks about, he does. He's talking about shrimps. I believe shrimps are going into shrimps category. I think they're 0.1 to 1 BTC. Those are considered shrimps. If you hold that much, that's what you're considered. Just in, just fun name terms. Doing well. Crabs stacking as hard as their little shells will let them. Very true. We're seeing that upward trend as well. Orange line represents supply held, and that's 1 to 10 BTC. That's considered a crab. That's just kind of what they're naming out here. I know there's probably different names as well. We're seeing the octopus as well, so that's about 10 to 100 BTC. So really what I'm getting from this, and what you should be partaking from this, is that long-term in people who have been in the market for a while, and this is the thing that I really do like to stress, is that it's easy to look at individuals now, people who had been here a year or 2 years, even a year and a half, and say, like people, and also do not let people tell you this as well. You need to correct them. When people tell you, hey, you got lucky, or like, oh man, you got in such a good price, you got lucky. No, you don't say, yeah, I got lucky. You say, no, I have resilience, and I have the understanding of the technology, and I believe that this is here to stay. Do not let anyone tell you guys you got lucky for your good price entry, because that's just a load of crap. That's an absolute load of crap, because you are on here taking this information, data, going off on your own time, spending time out of your already working day to understand this technology not only, but also understand this price action and how this asset class moves and how it will continue to mature and continue to do what it's supposed to do. So just from these on-chain metric data, you're seeing, just like we said at the beginning of the live stream, you're seeing all these newer investors, all these newer people who just hopped in here for the greed, either from Elon Musk tweet, from wherever they came from, to come get rich quick in crypto, whatever they say. You're seeing a ton of these guys come in here, and now you're seeing them absolutely getting shaken out, because we've been in a downtrend for 65 days of downtrend. So that means you have lost money, whether you're in profit or not. You have watched your portfolio diminish the past 65 days, and it's tough. It's very tough psychologically, but what do you understand? What makes you, what helps you sleep better at night? It's the on-chain metrics, and it's the overall sentiment of how we're moving. We're still the best performing asset class in the entire world. S&P's got nothing on us. Bonds has nothing. Gold has nothing. We're outperforming 2 times, 3 times of that. It's just what's the trade-off for this? And as we continue to mature, the volatility is a trade-off for our price action, pretty much, in a way. So you can't have a yin without a yang. Absolutely. So I thought this was really important for us to share that. You're seeing long-term individuals, people who've been here for a while, and I guess I consider myself not a veteran, but I'm pretty in there. I've been here for a year and a half now. So quite a little bit, more than most, but that's why we're on here and we're learning together, because education is our biggest barrier to entry. That goes with blockchain technology, Ethereum, that goes with literally everything in this space. That education is our biggest barrier to entry. That's why I spend so much time trying to dig deep, detail this for you guys. I do this for my clients as well, for people I work with, for a lot of these people who do not know this type of information and, want to know this. So you guys are doing a great job. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Keep killing it, because if you guys are sticking through this, I'm serious. Like, if you're here through this and you're continuing to learn, you're ultimately set up for success. We just saw exactly 60 days before this, 7 days before this, how well and how great these assets can perform and how much value they bring, not only just from an equity standpoint, but from an actual technological standpoint. For all those who are new and haven't gotten a chance to look back at our DeFi videos, what decentralized finance is, all our older videos covering, everything that we do on here and more, I highly recommend you guys go back and watch those, because those hold some really great value as well. So also going over to our Brazil Stock Exchange lists its first Bitcoin ETF. Massive news. This was yesterday. Brazil officially has their first ETF in Latin America for Bitcoin. We know Canada has already had that as well. We knew Canada has like 8, which is absolutely ridiculous. I still cannot believe how far behind we are in the US, but this is phenomenal. In March, the Brazil Securities Exchange approved a QR Capital's Bitcoin ETF to trade on B3 exchanges under the ticker QBTC11. Bitcoin ETF will give investors exposure to Bitcoin with safe custody, daily liquidity without worrying about private keys, said the firm. That's a big one also for a lot of these guys, is that an ETF is going to open up so much of these big money guys who just don't want to deal with their private keys. And, for those who don't know what private keys are, once you get to a point, that's probably a good video. I should probably need to make that. I suggest if you have anything over $1,000 in Bitcoin and any cryptocurrency, I do suggest getting yourself a ledger. A ledger is the safest way to store your digital assets, and truly the only way that you personally own them. You get a private key at the beginning when you set it up. It's a 24-word word phrase. You write that down, put that in multiple places. Do not ever lose that 24-word phrase, or else you will not be very happy with yourself later on. But it is the true way that you actually own custody of your own cryptocurrency. And this is why this is such a big deal for ETFs, is that a lot of people don't want to have that risk on their mind of, hey, oh, like I'm going to lose my private keys, or, oh crap, I forgot this and this, or, I got to keep up with so much. Some people don't want to deal with that, and I understand. And that's exactly where the ETF comes into play, making such a big impact and a dent, for us moving forward. So big thumbs up to Brazil. I love to see that, and we continue to move forward with this sentiment. We're going to come back to this article as well, because we do already have a video on BlockFi. I just thought this was really important, but we will come back to that. Also going over to Bitcoin funds, breaking new ground in Middle East with debut on NASDAQ in Dubai. So Dubai, Middle Eastern, we know that these guys have been very, very well in touch with Bitcoin and their cryptocurrency blockchain development. We know that Dubai, I was blessed enough to go to Dubai a couple years back with my pops, when he was doing business over there. They have, a whole city there. They're, of course, you guys may know, they're one of the wealthiest places in the world in terms, I think they're top 15 still. So in terms of their cities and their structures, I know they have us all autonomous, like non-driving city now, to where you just hop in a car and you just drive. But the overall, fintech and integration that they have here over in Dubai, this is just an add-on to what they already have going on, in terms of, how can Dubai get any more modern, pretty much is what they're saying to us. And what they said is, hey, we're going to start integrating some blockchain technology. We're going to start integrating, wallets in our stores and other things that we can do to make it so hassle-free that this is something that we can do. And of course, I'm not saying that everyone is going to be paying with Bitcoin. That is highly incorrect. We've seen that with China and their digital yuan and so on, that stable coins are going to be a big impact in terms of countries of how they're going to monitor that, and we will continue to unravel that as it comes out. But in terms of alternative payment systems, how they're moving throughout their city with blockchain technology, in terms of just like we saw with Miami, storing crypto taxes, real estate properties, sensitive data documents, hopping over to blockchain technology as well for the healthcare sector, the finance sector, everything that you could take from a database, put that in a decentralized way, and move that forward is looking pretty great to me. So I love to see that for the NASDAQ and in Dubai. And we knew that they had we knew for a while that they had been attacking this sector heavily. It's just, of course, these guys can't come out and say certain things yet until, of course, they get that thumbs up from from government officials, or any higher ranking officials in that region. So a lot of these guys work behind the scenes. They just don't tell us a lot of this type of stuff until they feel it is adequate. Also, hopping over to not just I don't really need your title, you guys can see that, but hopping over to our quick chart, I thought this was really crazy. So this is some of our sentiment charts. So we've seen Bitcoin adoption here at the top. We see the early adopters, the innovators, the 2.5%, the early adopters, 13.5%, the early majority, the late majority, the laggers, and so on. We've covered this a couple weeks back, but I think this is really important, kind of just a fresh reminder. So if we look at this chart here, this is kind of off a logarithmic scale, and how this is kind of weighed is by time frame. So we've talked about the Lindy effect also, and for those who don't know the Lindy effect, I highly recommend you just give a quick Google search, quick Wikipedia search. It's very easy to understand. But a quick overview for kind of what the Lindy effect is: it applies to non-perishable goods. So technology, processors, overall tech, like everything that is non-perishable, that you guys understand what non-perishable is. So how this applies to this is how this logarithmic chart applies to the Lindy effect, is that you can not only take non-perishable goods and put them on an extensive scale to see measurement, so like this, but also applies to the internet as well, since that's a non-perishable good, and also Bitcoin and blockchain technology as well. So you can see this growth right here, just over the 7.5 years from 1997 to 2005. You can see that growth that the internet had. Boom, absolutely. I was born in 1999, so I was still too young, but I remember having a desktop computer in my room. I was blessed enough to have a desktop computer in my kitchen and in my room. I remember playing around on stuff like that, and it was great. But now we're seeing the same chart, but we're just seeing in short 4 years the exact same growth that we had with the internet in half the time. And people often forget how old a lot of these technologies are. Bitcoin is no old. It came out in 2008. That was the official white paper posting of Bitcoin. It was 2008 of April, if I remember right, April 5th, I think. Yeah, 2008. And Ethereum was 2015 of August 24th. So 6 years, Ethereum's been alive, and you can see just how quickly these guys have these type of technologies have really adapted and continue to provide value. So this kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Of course, I'd like to see probably a little bit more in-depth chart, but I don't think I need to, because this is something that already makes me excited and continues to make me excited. So also just some small charts here. going through as well. Just kind of goes over the main majority, the early adopters in the mainstream markets, etc. Also goes over just some small, wrap-ups down on the end of the article. But overall, I think that is something very, very well that gives us kind of some engagement as to how fast we're moving. Not only just a civilization for advancing, but we're also getting smarter. Like every year I notice that, younger people and even people, my age, or if not a little bit older or younger, are starting to adapt to things quickly. Like, I got a younger sister and she's about 16. I got even shorter, like my nieces, I got about 5. Like those type of kids are going to be where we are, and it's going to just be second nature for them, for handling this type of tech, and I think that's really, really awesome. So, and also we covered our NYC mayor, I believe, also as well, and man, I think we really just blasted through this. I know we went over a lot today, guys. I'm just making sure that we didn't skip over anything major. We're going to go back and here, we need to do our technical analysis chart quickly, break this down just shortly. So we've had the same one up for quite a couple weeks now, so we're seeing exactly where we are. We've talked about our support levels. We've seen our 1, 2, 3, 4. We know we've been in this downtrend for quite a bit. Of course, nothing too bad. I know it looks bad. No, it's not always a lot of fun. But 70 days, we've been here. So we'll continue to monitor this. We'll continue to see. We've seen all the news that we've had. We've seen all the things coming out, and I know it doesn't reflect the price action exactly accurately, but I just cannot stress it enough. Anyone, and I know majority of you guys are pretty young. I know we got a couple older individuals in here, but just some extra positive reinforcement, man, and I say this 100% with all honesty, guys, time is really your biggest asset right now. So you're 22, 23, 24, 28, 30, you have so much time in terms of compounding and dollar cost averaging and just letting this continue to grow. It truly is amazing that, time is on our side. I love to say that because it's true. It is true. It is truly true. It's just not every day we get a new asset class that comes around that is here to stay. The last one, I literally sound like a broken record, but it is just such positive reinforcement because I know that these price actions and these news and a lot of this sentiment can really start to drive on your mental. It can really, get you going when there's nothing that you hear but negative news on top of individuals, maybe friends, family, that say, oh, you're stupid, you're an idiot. I've had the bash too. It happens all the time. You're like, oh, you're still in that Bitcoin stuff, man. Man, you don't know anything. Oh man, look at that price. It's times like this that people will come at you sideways and start to, challenge, your actions, your predicament. But when in doubt, zoom out, of course. But really going back to the technical analysis chart, guys, we're just fine. I got levels laid out here. We got a big one, our 39, our 40K resistance level, and then again, our 43 is a big one as well. 52 is a big one as well from our previous levels. And I marked these, the way I'm getting these is that, we're starting to break through from earlier years. So we covered this in our last video as well. I'm trying not to really try to repeat myself too much, but we do have a couple newer people, so I'm really trying to give them the first great introduction, and of course they are doing their own catch up as well. But really where we're sitting, guys, is just fine. I don't see any issues, and there's nothing wrong with having bearish turbulence in a bull market. We've known that. I've been through this 3 times now. I was here for March, I was here for this, now it's here for 2018. So it sits a little bit different with me of how I see this versus, of course, our newer individuals who come in here. And of course, I can understand how if you were newer and you got in here and now you're seeing, if, like you coming in up here, of course, that's hard. That's hard to look at. Or, even if you came in here, that's hard too. I can understand. But when in doubt, zoom out. Time is one of your biggest friends on your side. And, if you could buy the newest iPhone 60% off, would you? That's really my ultimate question. And, you can answer that for yourself as well and kind of see how, you sit with that sentiment. Alrighty, guys. I think we covered everything. This is a quick little... we kept this under 40 minutes. Wow, how fast was I talking? My goodness. Jeez, guys. Come on. My goodness. That's hilarious. But ultimately, guys, seriously, I think we covered already our 8 point. I think I'm going to make a separate video on BlockFi, actually, because we talked about it, and, we covered it in our DeFi section as well. For those who don't know, I'm going to... Here, let me show you guys so I'm not contradicting myself. So you go to the channel here, you come over, scroll down. Oh, here, go to videos. I'm sorry. Go to videos here, and where's our DeFi? Right here. Okay, Introduction to DeFi Guide. So this is exactly, we go through a ton, and I got timestamps in there as well. I need to start doing that a little bit more often. I know that was kind of a complaint from somebody. I don't know who it was, but intro, lending dexes, imperial loss. We go over pros and cons and so on, kind of just of DeFi. So I really recommend you checking that out, as that's just a whole nother realm that we are moving towards, and it's a really great guide. I really do want you guys to go look at that if you haven't already. But alrighty, guys, I think we are good to go. We covered everything I think that I needed to. I'm going to plan out next week as well. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to go to that as well. I'm going to plan out next week. We're back on schedule Tuesday, Thursday. I'll probably have a video, try to chime in this weekend. For any videos you guys want to see, I'm going to start doing a little bit more polls on that. We're getting a lot more people. I know we're one patron away from double digits, which actually is crazy. We've been doing this for 6.5 months now, 7 months now, I think. Actually, like, really pinpoint date, and man, it's been a ride, and even through green and red, we're still here and we're still continuing to learn, because this is something that is here to stay, and I'm really blessed and happy that you guys are still around, still finding purpose in this, sharing with friends or family, and continuing to apply this to your investing journey of whatever your goals are. Just remember that your goals are not anyone else's goals. Your goals are not my goals, and just really stick to your game plan. I know it's been the biggest, from just chatting with you guys, I know it's been the biggest thing, is that just forgetting the original game plan. And I know that this is something that is easy to kind of neglect sometimes, just with the volatility and all the news sometimes. But you guys are here, you guys are sticking to the game plan, and you guys are doing an awesome job. Some of the questions I've gotten have been absolutely phenomenal. I've had questions that truly I've even had to double search, which is phenomenal. That just means you guys are critically thinking, and that's exactly what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to ask questions. I don't want you guys to get off here and say, oh, I already knew all that, kind of waste of time. No, I want you guys to come in here and say, oh, shoot, hey, he mentioned it 33 minutes that, that was important. Let me go do some deeper dives. Or, oh, this project looks really good, on decentralized network. It runs some DeFi applications. How can this impact, and how is this going to solve real world problems? Those are the questions I really want to instill in you guys, and you guys are doing a great job of that. So I couldn't have asked for anything better, from you guys and your performance. So, alrighty, guys, I'm done. I'm done rambling. I know we're coming up with the 40-minute mark. We got to be done. But thank you guys so much for chiming in today. I really appreciate it. We'll be back to full force next week. Pay attention to the Patreon, please, if you can. I'm going to be doing a little bit of updates there. We are also still moving in the process of moving over a better just communication system as we get more individuals coming in. I'm going to start doing a little bit more Discord up-to-dates. I'm working with a guy right now who does a lot of good Discord integrations, because it's just so much easier to navigate on there. I'm going to have to do a tutorial probably on that as well, just because I know you guys aren't all familiar with Discord just yet. But alrighty, guys, thanks so much. Any questions, concerns, like and subscribe, please. Share this with any friends or family who have any questions, or just are looking to get into this space and really understand the curriculum. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys on Tuesday, if not before. Stay safe, have a great weekend.